All right, guys. So we got to talk about a story of modern day racism, okay, that you won't hear about in the mainstream liberal media because it doesn't fit the narrative. Because they don't believe that people can be racist against whites, right? Whites can't be the victims of racism. Doesn't happen to them, right? Except when it does, right? For example, affirmative action, okay? And stories like this where the Broadway's Lion King is facing a lawsuit for allegedly firing a sign language interpreter for being white. Now, apparently this Lion King performance on Broadway is supposed to feature all BIPOC people, I guess. And that includes the interpreter. I'm not sure why you would need your interpreter to be BIPOC, but apparently they gave the guy a job and then fired him for being white. Now he's suing. Take a look.
A white sign language interpreter is suing the Lion King on Broadway, claiming he was fired because of his skin color. In an email from the nonprofit Theater Development Fund, Keith Wan was told, quote, "It's no longer appropriate to have white interpreters represent black characters for ASL Broadway shows." Joining us now, Keith and his attorney, Josh Pepper. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for coming on. So, Keith, tell us what happened. Walk us through what happened in March and then in April.
Absolutely. So, as we know, Broadway has interpreters often for different plays. And The Lion King already had some established dates that they were using interpreters to provide access for the deaf and hard of hearing audience. And the team of 3 interpreters were BIPOC interpreters. There was a particular date that 2 of them were not available. And so I got an email and saying, "Hey, Keith, you're qualified. You have a background in theater interpreting. You've done work for us before. Would you be available for this date to help fill in?" I said, "Absolutely, sure." And then a few days later, I got the email that you got, or that you were able to show there, and just looked at it and said, what they're saying here, I think this is illegal. And so that's when I talked to Mr. Pepper.
Okay, so Josh, you got the call and you decided to represent him. Tell us about the case.
That's pretty straightforward. They pretty much admit in their email that they are retracting the offer because he is white. And there is a statute, it's actually a Reconstruction Act statute, that says you cannot, that people have the right to contract regardless of their race. It was, again, a Reconstruction era statute that was intended to protect the former slaves, to protect black people from not being able to have their businesses. But the Supreme Court decided in 1976 that white people could sue under this statute as well. Thurgood Marshall actually wrote that decision. And so we think it's a strong case that they refused to give him this job because he is white. The statute says you can't do that, and so we want to recover the money that he would have been paid.
Yeah, so Keith, this has made national attention. Yesterday it was the front cover of the New York Post, and the headline was "Cowardly Lion. Broadway boots white sign language interpreters from hit show." You're not the only one. There was another female, too, that was booted as well. It says in the article that you were going to make $1,000 per performance, so you're out of the money, you're out of your job. Why did you decide to sue, and why did you decide now to go public with this?
Wrong is wrong. I think the decision they said in the email was wrong. If you insert a different color, if you insert a different race, it is wrong. You are not allowed to fire somebody because of that reason. They could have been 12 other reasons, perhaps they could have said, you know, I'm long in the tooth, whatever. But it was for this reason. And again, there's some false narrative out there that I'm trying to push my way into this space that is not my space. There was already a team established. They were asking me to come in and help them out for one event.
Yeah, it's really sad because the job that you've decided, your profession, is to help other people enjoy the theater that normally wouldn't be able to. And so that's a wonderful decision on your part. But now you're being booted because of the color of your skin. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Let us know how this turns out. We did reach out to the Theater Development Fund for a comment, and we did not hear back.
Yeah, so what you just heard there was a classic case of racial discrimination in the workplace coming from woke Disney, okay? No surprises, right? No surprises that Disney is racist, right? Racist against whites, okay? Because apparently you can't be an interpreter if you're white. Again, I don't know what the sign language interpreter, I don't know why that has to be a certain skin color or race. I don't know why any of the actors have to be a certain skin color or race for the Lion King. Maybe it's the whole African thing. Maybe that's why. But regardless, yeah, I don't think it's right to fire somebody on the basis of the color of their skin. So I hope this guy gets a whole lot of money, right? I hope he bankrupt this production, because I don't know why there should be skin color requirements to be an interpreter, right? A sign language interpreter. But hey, I'm just saying, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that, you know, movies and Hollywood productions, they do have, you know, racial quotas, I guess, right? In which, you know, actors need to be a certain race or whatever for the character. But I don't know, if they hired the guy and they let him be an interpreter and then they fired him because he was white, I do think that's a little over the top, right? I mean, they just could have not hired him in the first place. Maybe there's a lack of black interpreters or BIPOC interpreters. And this, once again, is another example of the hypocrisy from Disney, because they have no problem race swapping characters like the Little Mermaid, right? They made her black, even though the Little Mermaid is white, and you're supposed to be okay with it, right? You're supposed to be okay with it because that's racial progress, okay? That's inspiring little boys and girls. But when you have a sign language interpreter, okay, that's, I guess, supposed to be black, it's not appropriate to race swap them with a white man, okay? It's not appropriate. Can't do that. Can't do it the other way around. Again, the rules for the not me mentality coming from the left is everywhere, bro. It's everywhere. So who knows? But I want to talk about another story here because it's very similar. Okay, as people are crying racism here, right? After a puppet performance at Touche's 45th anniversary party, some leather community members feel disappointed and betrayed. So the woke mob is outraged by a white ventriloquist who came out with a black puppet named Sister Girl and made jokes about loving watermelon, being on welfare, and having multiple kids, right? So this guy, who I would classify as a comedian here, put on a performance that, again, upset people. People got butt hurt. The feelings got hurt. So without further ado, I actually just want to play a clip of him doing his performance so that you guys can get an idea of what people are upset about. Take a look.
Most so. Well, now comes my grand finale, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go, David, can I give you something, David? Will you come here, David? Let me give you something. Come over here. Come here, David. Oh, don't clap. He ain't gonna like this shit. Here you go, David. This is my tip jar. Can you pass it around when I'm all done? And then get out of the light. Get out of the light. Thank you very much. And David, I got 5 children's head here. I got 5 little girls. And names are Malanta, Papisha, Lavitra, and the twins, Vizine and Murine. I need the tips from the peoples. And now comes my grand finale. Actually, ain't that grand, it's more like petite. But here it is anyway, my petite finale. Maestro, if you please. Here we go. That's the show, I gotta go, there ain't no mo. So I step on out, show my style, and start my stuff. Bye!
Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Halliday.
Yeah, so clearly that is comedy, okay? It's comedy. Now, whether or not you think it's actually funny, that's another conversation. That's another video. But clearly the guy is trying to be a comedian. However, that doesn't stop the mob from being the mob. Famed leather bar Touche will hold a town hall next week after coming under fire for hiring a ventriloquist who used a racist puppet of a black woman during the bar's 45th anniversary party. The ventriloquist, Jerry Halliday, introduced his puppet as, quote, Sister Girl, and was captured on video speaking with a stereotypical black accent or voice that white and non-black performers use to imitate black vernacular. Witnesses said he made jokes about loving watermelon, being on welfare, and having multiple kids. Several audience members walked out mid-performance, including a bartender who quit mid-shift. A barrage of social media posts were made Wednesday calling out Touche 6414 North Clark Street for allowing the performance to happen. The black puppet was pictured in posters advertising the 45th anniversary celebration. Chuck Rodacker, owner of Touche, said he and the bar leaders apologized profusely and sincerely for the performance. The bar will host a town hall to collect feedback 7 p.m. a Wednesday at the Leather Archives and Museum, 6418 North Greenview Avenue. Quote, hopefully people will look at the 45-year history of the establishment over a 45-minute tasteless performance. Rodacker said, quote, if there's something we can do to support someone more in the future, we'd be more than happy to because we are one of the oldest gay bars in the city and always had a very diverse crowd that's welcoming of women, people of color, and people with disabilities. All right, so you guys know what's going on here, okay? A bunch of people got upset. They walked out because the dude, again, was performing comedy. They got upset, right? And I'm not a black woman, but I'm black. And I can tell you, I'm not upset about that because if a black person was imitating a white person like that, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. It's comedy. Who cares? I think that should be allowed. I don't think people should get upset and trigger over that. Now, again, hey, is it their free speech to get upset and trigger too? Yes, but it makes them soft, right? It really does. It really does. Because this is what happens. Now this guy is probably not going to get a job again, okay? And now it's going to be off limits to do that type of comedy. What I don't think it should be. And again, it wouldn't be off limits to do it if it was the other way around. If there was a black guy with a white puppet pretending to be a white guy or a white girl, nobody would complain. Nobody would say anything. Again, it's the double standards that kill me, right? You either allow all of it or you allow none of it. This selective choosing based off races and victimhood, perceived victimhood, it's killing me, bro. It really is. It really is. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.